Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
If you didn't know before, now you know why they call this the Fun Belt.
I'm very excited about the Sun Belt.
You know, while other conferences have been breaking up, our conference has become stronger.
The state of Sun Belt football is the strongest in our history.
I saw Fun Belt Conference, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I got to join the show. It sounds a lot of fun.
Dusty Thibodeaux, Warhawk Report. Jeremy Harper from HowlRaiser.com joins me in New Orleans as we get ready to kick off Sun Belt Conference Media Days coverage. Jeremy, it's the final countdown.
Is this the start of football season? I kind of think so.
I think so. Well, it's the teaser before camp finally breaks in the fall, right?
Yeah. But everybody's getting their ties straight. Everybody's getting rebounding from injury. The coaches are getting their talking points put together. It's like it's time. This is it. This is football season has begun.
And this is also when we get to practice our interview skills, right?
Oh, definitely. We've been practicing them all damn day.
All todos dias, as they say in the Spanish-speaking world.
If you think that, we're just laying around eating bonbons or beignets, as it is in New Orleans, drinking Cokes, just listening to people talk. No. Thibs and I have been working our butts off to bring you the finest Sunbelt content there is known to man.
Or the show.
Yeah. And the best that we can do with our limited abilities and our limited intelligence, we've brought together this show, and we're going to break it out for you.
We kick off in the West with Arkansas State, Louisiana Lafayette, ULM, student athletes, head coaches talking. But one thing that I want to discuss with you first and foremost there, Jeremy, is that preseason poll that came out.
Okay.
From the coaches where they discuss or they prognosticate who is going to win the West.
Right.
And we're focused just on the West since that is where we're kicking off our coverage of Sunbelt leading up to opening day. No real surprise, honestly, that Troy Trojans get 10 first-place votes, and they are predicted to win the West.
Sure.
4 votes for South Alabama in second place, Cajuns third, Southern Miss fourth, Texas State, Arkansas State, and ULM. Any surprises in there that you saw?
No, and here's why it's not surprising. I always feel like the coaches, I don't know if they work that hard on building a good poll for themselves. I think they see what happened last year, rather than rock the boat or create any sort of controversy. They'll just go, how they finished last year, we'll put them kind of where they did. We'll put them there. So I never look at coaches' polls and say, well, I don't know if that's the definitive ranking.
I do see a couple things that stand out to me.
All right.
92 total points for Troy, 85 for South Alabama. Here's where it starts getting interesting. Third place Cajuns, fourth place Southern Miss, 2-point difference.
Yeah.
Fifth place Texas State, sixth place Arkansas State, 3-point difference.
Yeah.
And then there's ULM.
Oh, they're way down there. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Jeremy. Yeah, the only thing I really think, I do believe that South Alabama is still the team to beat in the West. I'm also a firm believer, though, of hell to the chief till the chief dies, then hell to the chief. Troy Trojans is still a chief until somebody can dethrone them. So I think that South Alabama-Troy matchup is really big, not only for shaking out how the conference plays in the West, but also establishing that true front runner for the Sun Belt West division.
Yeah, we talked to the Kane Womack, we talked to John Sumrall about that. I know that you've always believed in that chief mentality. I've never really been on that. I kind of look back and say, sometimes when you're the chief, it's because you've put it all out for that one magic season, and then a lot of stuff goes away. And that's kind of what happened to Troy. They've had a lot of pieces go away, especially on defense. Meanwhile, South Alabama seems to have gotten just stronger on defense, and defense seems to be where a lot of games are won in the Sun Belt West. I think we ended up picking South Alabama on our show. I'm still sticking with that.
I'm sticking with it as well, and hopefully Kane Womack forgives me for selecting his Jaguars.
Yeah, you probably put the voodoo on him, so
we
congratulations.
Are
yeah. Maybe the Voodoos will cancel each other out.
So without further ado, we kick off our Sun Belt Conference West Division coverage with Arkansas State, their student athletes and head coach Butch Jones, Raging Cajun head man Mike DeZormo and his student athletes, and of course Jeremy flying solo, but getting the interview with Terry Bowden before we come back together for the student athletes of ULM.
Coach Jones, you call it season 2 because the first season 0 for you. What do you expect out of season 2?
Well, very excited. I think we've had a really productive off season. Stemming back to the winter and into spring football and now into the summer months. We're still building our identity, but the culture, the mindset, the work capacity, completely different football team. We're a completely different looking football team. And, we build it methodically. We still have some concerns, some depth issues, some things at different spots that we have to get corrected and addressed during training camp. But the key for us is, can we play winning football at all 9 position groups? That's going to be the key. But in terms, we have more distributed leadership than we've ever had. The players now are starting to own the program. So from a culture standpoint and mentality standpoint, it's been great to see. You look at last year, we go back year 0 or year 1, however you want to refer to it, we were just fielding the football team. We had to go in the portal, we had to use our allotment of scholarships, and then we made a really heavy commitment that we needed to build our younger talent base in our program. So we had to have an influx of younger players. We're still a developmental program, so we stacked 2 top recruiting classes back to back. So that's been exciting to see. Matter of fact, we just tested our players and we had 6 true freshmen run over 21 miles an hour.
Nice.
So we all knew that we needed to improve our team speed. So we got a lot of positive things going on in Jonesboro.
I don't think I can get my Subaru up to 21 miles per hour, let alone run 21 miles per hour. Coach Butch Jones joins us from Arkansas State on the podcast. Coach, of the position group, you talked about depth and stuff. About what is the one position group that has made the biggest improvement over the spring and summer?
Well, we'll find out when training camp hits, but I would say the offensive line. We've really invested in that. We made a commitment to the high school ranks in the last 2 recruiting classes, but we needed to go find some individuals in the portal that could come in and compete right away and elevate our game, and I think we've been able to do that. Jacob Bayer is a center who's really changed our offense from Lamar, and he's one of our leaders up front. So we've really made a commitment there. So that's going to be a completely different unit, and then we're able to still have the luxury of continuing to grow and develop our young talent in the offensive front as well. We don't have, right now we have a native starting quarterback, but I like all 3 individuals.
You jumped in front of me. I was going to be asking who
it was coming. But we don't need to make that decision. I don't think you need to ever rush those things. It's going to happen when it happens. But we need all 3 individuals, whether it's Jackson, whether it's JT, or whether it's Jalen. We need all of them to continue to improve and grow. And that's what I see is they're very highly competitive individuals with very, very strong character. And they respect each other, and they're pushing each other to get better each and every day.
Coach, you've been talking about offense for the last couple of minutes, which is great. We need to know what's going on with the offense. But you brought 2 defensive guys, Justin Park and Malik Straker, to the Sunbelt Media Days. I asked them, is Coach Jones making a statement? Are you making a statement saying the defense is carrying the day here at Arkansas State?
Here's what I learned over the course of time, is you're going to take individuals that have earned and deserve the right to represent your program. And very fitting that it's Malik and Justin because they've been through it. They've seen year 0, year 1, and now year 2. They can really tell you what it's like. But it was a hard decision, so that's when you know you're making progress as a program. Ethan Hassel is another one of those individuals, again, on defense that you could say deserve the right. Keelan Thomas could have been an individual that represented us today. So there's a lot of individuals in that conversation piece of who they bring to media day. So that's how you know you're getting better.
Coach, when you look around the league, Red Wolves picked towards the bottom of the West. Is that kind of fair, knowing what you've done in the past, or do you feel that maybe it's one more year before the Red Wolves can really kind of make that leap?
I think a lot of times it's based on what last year's team did, so I don't pay much attention to it. I think the more the interesting thing that you look at is I like to look at the preseason all-conference polls. And if you really look at it, it's dominated by players that are in 4th, 5th, and 6th years in the program. So that kind of shows you exactly still where we're at in the hierarchy of building the program. We were the 3rd youngest team in America last year. This year we only have 12 seniors again. So it's exciting to be able to control, be able to continue to grow and develop. But when you look at the all-conference teams, it's maturity and it's veteran players that comprise those teams.
And you definitely got to have circled that your specialist is right there leading the way. How great is that, knowing that even if the offense fails, you're able to flip the field with a good punt, able to, if the offense fails, able to get that field goal off and everything else? I mean, how much of a relief is that?
Well, it is. And, it's a program philosophy that, special teams is going to be an integral part of what we do. We need to continue to make that a competitive advantage. I think, a lot of people don't realize this is when you look at all the composites of special teams, we finished number 2 in the country in all of college football. And our players take great pride. Some statistic came out where we're top 5 in the country in special teams. Now everybody knows that. And you have to reprove yourself and reinvent yourself every single year. But to be able to have the specialists that we have is obviously a competitive advantage for us. And having the luxury of knowing that you have Dominic Zabata, his range can go up to maybe 56, 57. That lends itself to a lot of things. I think you go back and, going forward on 4th down is kind of like the new thing in football. It's the new trend in the analytics. But when you have a kicker as talented as Dominic, you have to really kind of refocus that and kind of, play to the dynamics of the game week in and week out because we have that luxury.
So you said you haven't mentioned or named a quarterback yet, but you have 3. Is there a potential you just put all 3 in the backfield and roll with it?
You never know.
Yeah, that 3 quarterback set, yeah.
We can come up with something like that. But again, all 3 individuals have really done a good job of leadership, continue to really coach each other and really lead the offense and really start to lead the team. I think that's the biggest thing is whoever emerges, can they not only lead the offense, but can they also lead the team? We always talk about being a CEO quarterback, and that's all part of it. It's one thing to lead one side of the ball, but do you have the influence that you have over the entire program?
Coach, you mentioned Jacob Bear. I think he's a transfer out of Lamar. Who are some other newcomers to the team that you think that maybe Thibs and I should look out for as the season goes on?
Well, if you stay in the theme of up front, Jalen Cunningham, who's a transfer from Ole Miss. He's about 365 pounds.
He's a big guy.
So, again, we're excited about him. Hamilton Hall at left tackle. That's another transfer from Ole Miss. That's really had a great productive offseason. Courtney Jackson is a receiver from Syracuse that has really good competitive character, good speed. Really, really excited about him. Not in this year's portal class, but Quest Cross.
Yeah.
Has really had a really productive offseason. We're excited about him. So just the dynamics of a lot of individuals. Char Willikis at middle linebacker has really done a good job of stepping up. And then Gavin Potter, who's a transfer from Kansas, who started there last year. Those individuals have made each other better as well. So I'm excited to see what Dave Marty, a transfer defensive tackle from Princeton, can bring to the table as well. So again, we signed 15 portal individuals, 12 were here at mid-year, so that helped us too. And we only signed 3, obviously, in the last portal.
Coach, I only have one last question for you. And it's probably the most important question that you'll be asked all season. You said you had guys run 21 miles per hour. You seem like you're in pretty good shape. Can you hit 21?
No. So,
what do you think? More like 20, 19?
I tell you, it's been a unique off-season, a great July. 14 years of media days, and you kind of get on a mental clock, your body gets on a time clock. But last weekend, this past weekend, we spent it in Knoxville. My oldest son, who coaches on our staff, got married.
Oh, congratulations!
So, it's kind of been a whirlwind July for us, but it's been exciting. But now it's time to get back to work and get this football team ready to go.
To work towards that 21 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Coach Butch Jones.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Head coach of the Raging Cajuns, Sunbelt legend, Michael DeZormo joins us on Funbelt Podcast. Coach, you survived year one. How did that year go? And did you really check all the boxes that you wanted to in that season?
I think it's hard to ever say that you checked everything you wanted to. Certainly there's a lot of things I'm proud of that we were able to do last year. For our team, to see them rally, kind of went through that slide at the beginning of the year with a bunch of guys who truthfully have never lost a whole bunch of games. See them rally and come back and find a way to get us to the postseason again. I'm proud of a lot of those things. We had some quarterback injuries in and out, which is always a difficult thing to manage, and our team really did a good job with that. But for me, I think the biggest thing is, when you don't have the year that you want, wins and losses wise, you got to go back and look in the mirror and you got to say, what can I do to help our team? What are the things that I can do to get us back to where we all want to be? And so, a lot of it sat down with our strength and conditioning coach. There's so much information that's at hand now with all this data, the training data and things that you have, workload, work capacity, volume, everything. And we kind of really hammered out a lot of that, and our strength staff's done a phenomenal job. And we made adjustments to our all-season program, things that we thought fit this team better. With a young team that we think is talented, certainly we need to restructure the way we're doing the weight room and emphasize a little bit more on the strength development, maybe than the speed training and stuff like that. So kind of went back to that and said, all right, well, our team, the identity of our team, we want to be tough, we want to be physical, we want to be all these things, but it's got to start in the weight room. And it was a good change for us. It's been really good for us. This spring, that's the time that you go back and you fix some things. The glaring issues to us were offensively, in the red area, didn't score touchdowns at a high enough percentage. And then certainly, defensively, when you have chances to end the game in 2 minutes, when you lose 4 one-possession games, you kind of sit and look around and say, well, touchdowns and getting the one key stop here, those are the difference in those games. And, then you do feel a lot better about the wins and losses from last year. So, you sit down and you work really hard at those things and, find better ways, find things that you can do to put your kids in position to go out there and have success. And, so I'm excited about where we're at. I think we've addressed those issues, and we're looking forward to getting back to it with this team in fall camp.
Coach D, how difficult is it to replace a guy as scary as Andre Jones Jr.? That guy, he seemed like he was a monster every time I saw him on the field. How difficult is it to replace him?
It's hard to replace a lot of guys one for one. And the good thing about defense and our philosophy and the way that we play football is we believe in playing a lot of players. And I don't think, Andre or Sion Hill are guys that you maybe go one for one with. I think you have to do it with the sum of the parts. And so we tried to develop our depth there on the defensive front. And I think we've done a really good job of that. We've got some talented players that are coming back. And I think the depth is going to be what we need to kind of carry that load and really spread the load out a little bit. But, the thing that Andre did, Andre made himself a really good player. From the day that he got here, football was always incredibly important to him. And he approached every single day like it was incredibly important to him. I mean, he practiced. Every practice rep he took was a game-type rep. And, the legacy, when you have guys like that, that carries on from the guys that were behind him that watched him. And so, if we can get that same intensity, that same effort, that same output every day by more guys, right, and you can spread the workload out a little bit, and then that's how you overcome losing players like that, I think, by creating more quality depth where you spread that out a little bit.
I think everybody wants to be quarterback you, running back you. It seems like the Cajuns have really become tight end you. I mean, you had Lumpkin last year that was great, phenomenal. You got Neil Johnson this year had a reception, at least one reception every game. How big is that position in your offense and what you're trying to do?
Well, I think, the way that our offense is designed, being able to throw it out of run sets and establishing the run is always important to us. And it always has and always will be. But even last year, where we didn't run as effectively as we wanted to, the pass game out of those sets, you have those types of players and those types of tight ends, they're matchup issues for other people. And, the tight end play is huge for us. For a long time, it was really more about what they did in the run game. But last year, we knew that probably the strength of our offense was going to be our receiver room and tight end room. The O-line lost a ton, and we had a lot of young guys that were coming back, first-time starters. Running backs was kind of the same. We still had Chris, but not nearly as many proven guys in that room. And then certainly at quarterback, last year was completely unknown for us. Who was going to step up and do it. So for us, using Neil and Johnny last year in more of a vertical pass threat role was something that we needed in that offense to provide some explosives, to get some chunk plays. And this year is really, it's no different in that we feel a lot better about the O-line, certainly the quarterback play and the running backs that played. But, this year you've got a group of skilled players on offense that have made plays for us. So you got Neil, Peter LeBlanc, Jake Moore, Lance DeJohn. Those guys have made plays down some of them their whole career, some of them through the backstretch of last year. Those guys need to carry the load while we have a young, talented group of skilled players on offense. But you got to figure out who's ready, And so, we expect Neil to carry a big load for us, along with those other skilled guys, until we can figure out. You got, Terrence Carter is a really talented player in that tight end room. How ready is he this year? You think he's ready, but with freshmen, you never really know till you know. So receivers the same thing. Charles Robertson and Jake Johnson. Rob Williams is a sophomore. So all those guys, you feel like, man, they got everything they need to go and be successful. But who is going to actually go do it? So, you need those proven players to go out and play well early and carry the load until you kind of figure out who else fits in that mix.
You have three quarterbacks really kind of in the mix there for that starting position. What have you seen kind of early on in these OTAs over the summer as you get ready to break fall camp?
Well, I think the thing about had Ben not Ben's an if, right? You can if fans and buts all you want, but Ben had Ben not gotten hurt, there would be no controversy, at all. The way that he played and what he meant to our team, he was really the catalyst for us, starting to win those games right in that middle back end stretch. So the biggest issue was always going to be, health-wise, where is he at? He was fully cleared last week. So he's made his recovery back in 8 months. He looks great. The thing that sets him apart is his leadership. He's an older, 6-year senior. He's been through all these things. His leadership and his work ethic and his mental approach to it makes him a little different. The thing that we got to do is physically, he's cleared, he's good. We got to just make sure mentally he's in the right space, because that's a big part of it. People don't understand when you go through trauma like that. It's there's a mental piece to that. So it's really kind of been against Chandler or Zion, if that makes any sense at all. That was a battle that we really wanted to happen this spring. And unfortunately, Chandler had to have an off-season, a non-football related procedure done. But then Zion, who's an incredibly talented freshman, got to take every snap of spring. So there's. I mean, look, you can sit there and you could focus on the good or the bad. I'm always going to focus on the things, the positives. So you got Zion a bunch of snaps, Chandler won games on the back end, and then certainly, Ben, the way he played, you feel good about that. But it's Ben and how ready he's been, and if that guy's 100%, he's going to be hard for anyone on our roster to beat out, just because the time he spent learning this offense, the detail in which he knows it, the work ethic and his leadership, he's going to be hard to beat out if he's mentally and physically 100%. But if he's not, we got to be ready. That's part of it. And we do have two guys that I'm confident in. So we're in a good situation there with guys that we know can play effectively for us. Last year we had three guys we hoped could play effectively, and so you're in a better spot, and you know they can.
After 1 year of being the coach, it's sort of a different hat you have to wear when you're the head coach, right? What was the biggest lesson you learned by the end of the season being head coach?
The biggest lesson I learned is that, and everybody tells you this, and Coach Napier told me this, it's the same thing, and everybody tells you this, and I knew this, but I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment. You got to do it your way, and you have to make the changes that you know your team needs. You can't do things just because you've had success doing them before, and some of these all-season changes, some of these things I wanted to do it last year, and truthfully, I didn't because it was, you had success doing it this way. But every team is different, and for me, the big thing is I'm fully confident now in saying this is how we're going to do it. This is what you need to do. And last year, there was a little hesitation to do that, and this is everything I've ever dreamed of, having this opportunity to do this, and we're going to do it the way that it needs to be done. We're going to make changes as they need to be made, and we tell our kids, there's no fear of failure. There's just go, do it, and sometimes as coaches, you got to take your own coaching. So that's probably the biggest thing is, man, just make the change you know you need to make and roll with it.
Coach Mike DeShormo, thank you for being on the show. We appreciate it. Hey, welcome to the Fun Belt Podcast. I'm joined by two guys from Louisiana Cajuns, Neil Johnson. Thank you, and Casey Osai. How you guys doing?
Good, I'm great.
Now, have you ever done something like this?
No, this is actually my first time at a media day thing.
First time at a media day thing? But you've been in front of cameras, right? Yeah, and
sure.
Is it always a pain in the butt?
It gets easier. It gets easier as you do it more.
I know that it probably takes a little bit of confidence to get up in front of the microphone. But what if it's on a bad day? You ever have to get in front of the microphone after a loss? How is it like to get in front of the microphone after a loss?
I actually haven't had to do that yet.
What?
I haven't had to do that yet.
I love that. I hope your streak continues this year. You too?
I think I might close the next day, after. But I mean, after I leave the field, I'm back to my normal self, so I don't really take it to bring that to the camera.
So, last season, Cajuns picked by many to close out the Sun Belt West, kind of like the Cajuns have been doing year after year for a long time. Had a little bit of a step back. Are the Cajuns back for 2023?
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
All right. A lot of confidence there, yeah. So where's the improvements been made? Where do you think it has been made?
I feel like it was just a small thing. I feel like a lot of games last year we were really beating ourselves in certain games, like one possession games and stuff like that. We were just a lot of things that we could have controlled that we didn't really control too well. So I feel like this summer and this past spring and things like that, we've been really honing in on those small things like that. And really, our competitiveness is at an all-time high right now. We're all getting each other better at practice daily. So we're definitely going to be a whole other team running out on that field.
Coach D mentioned paying more attention in the weight room, less about speed, although speed's always important, and more about strength. Have you seen that difference?
Absolutely. I mean, we spent a lot of time in June, usually in June and July, we just out there running, doing drills. In June, we spent more time in the weight room to get a little bit stronger. So I've definitely seen it in a lot of people, actually.
How's that Lafayette heat this year?
It's crazy, man. It's like that's something I've been a part of, man.
I know, it's that humidity that's even worse.
You start sweating.
Can't even get to your car without a drop of sweat, man.
Yeah, how do you maintain your weight?
You gotta eat. You gotta eat. You gotta get your water in.
So, let's just talk about non-conference. Is there a game that you guys are looking forward to more than anything else in the
non-conference? Definitely Minnesota, just because it's just a great opportunity out there on the field just to go against a bigger conference and really go out there and show that, you know what I'm saying, Sunbelt is not really too far from anybody else, or we're really just like everybody else, and we're really excited to show that.
And if you have to go somewhere in the summer, it might as well be Minnesota.
Yeah, for sure.
I tell you though, the mosquitoes there are just as bad. I don't know why. Something about Minnesota is just... Well, gentlemen, it looks like we're starting off the conference, so I am going to let you guys go. Thank you very much for joining us, Neil. Thank you very much.
Hey, no, I got to admit, it's odd to have a guy that's never played Sunbelt football at Sunbelt Media Days. How did you react when Coach Bowden comes to you going, hey, let's hop in a car and go to New Orleans?
I think I reacted a little surprised. You know, I was initially I was very blessed. You know, I give all glory and thanks to God. I think, you know, He opens doors sometimes that ain't meant to be open, and He makes ways where ways aren't made to be made. And, you know, I just give thanks to God, and I just give thanks for Coach Bowden, Coach Vic Cohen, and Coach Cody Grace. You know, they got a belief and trust and faith in me. Not only, even though I haven't stepped foot on the football field yet, I feel like they've seen what I've done in the weight room, in the classroom, and just as a human, just not even without football, just me as a human, that they felt like they could bring me and I could, you know, represent this university in a positive and good way.
You know, they always, President Dr. Berry always says the best is on the bayou and all that. Maybe on the academic side, athletic side, it's definitely been a little bit of a struggle here lately. What have you seen in these OTAs as y'all get ready for this season to try to improve on that 4-8 record?
I think one thing I've seen is, I think, well, we have great individuals. We have good individuals, but it's about us being good as a team. Let's put those, as I like to say, an example. If you have a target and we have 11 archers, and they all spread out, some may hit and some may miss a target, but if we bring them all together, we aim right at the mark, we all gonna hit it. So just trying to get all 11 guys on, even if it's, you know, 11 guys on the same courtesan, on the same plane, and just play with that aggression, as I say, you know, dare to be great. We gotta dominate, attack, be relentless, and have outstanding effort to dominate or to win football games. So that's what we plan to do in attack.
You mentioned defensive coordinator Vic Cohen and really being a guy you kind of look up to. That defense last year was really the Warhawks' kind of saving grace that really kept them in a lot of games. How can that defense improve this year, especially on the defensive line?
I think a lot of things, you know, as you say, improvement-wise. I know, you know, the defense was pretty good. I say there was good moments in the defense. I think, you know, if we talk about numbers, well, I'm a big number person. 110 in total defense last year in the nation. I think, you know, there was good points, but I don't think that's where anybody wants to be in the bottom half of college football, the defense, or the year prior, 111. I think just some of those things saying, okay, you know, sometimes I try to reiterate is if we want to do that again, let's just keep doing the things we're doing. And if we don't, let's break these bad habits and these negative things that we've been doing and try to improve. So some of our goals is, you know, we want to be a top 50 defense in the nation. So how do we do that? We do that by having 15 to 20 interceptions for the season. So that's 1.15 through 1.53 interceptions per game, 35 through 40 sacks for the year. So that's 2.69 through 3 sacks per game, and having limiting our opponent to 330 yards per game and 4.75 yards per play. So that's kind of some things we try to iterate and just understanding those numbers. Okay, if we want to talk about improvement is 2021 through 2022. Yeah, but you want one spot. So we're trying to make a huge leap of 60 spots. So it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of determination and a willingness to change.
Jeremy, you noticed the man has a book.
I did.
Dropping truth.
I imagine it's full of wacky Terry Bowden quotes, too.
he would never have those.
Maybe some blackmail material?
Probably that.
Something to get him out of practice.
Aiden, can't thank you enough for your time here. Sunbelt Media Days. Looking forward to seeing what the Warhawks can do this upcoming 2023 season.
Thank you for having me.
Jaira Wright, quarterback for the ULM Warhawks, joins us on Funbelt Podcast. Jaira, you take over for Chandler Rogers, a guy that was really probably one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the Sunbelt Conference. How do you kind of follow those footsteps and really work to improve that offensive game?
Well, Chandler and I came in at the same time at 21, so we kind of bounced off each other as far as athletic ability and quarterback ability. I know Terry Bowden has compared us in the past. He's certainly a great quarterback, and I wish him the best at North Texas. But just going forward, being able to build off of Coach Kubik's offense, I know Chandler and Coach Kubik went back, they knew each other prior to being reunited at ULM, but just being able to continue my experience with his offense has been huge as far as just, developing, being on the same page as him, being able to understand what kind of play calls he wants to make, and then also just kind of expanding, my knowledge of the offense onto, the other positions, because, the best way to tell if you know something is if you're able to teach it. So just kind of being able to go out there and teach the younger guys, especially the new quarterbacks. I'm really excited to be working with them. I think the new guys we got they're really quality guys, they're quality quarterbacks, and I'm thankful to be able to go into Mettlen Stadium every day and work out with all my teammates and just build that chemistry.
Now, Chandler Rogers taking off, going to the mean green. How is your style of play different than his?
Yeah, like I said earlier, Coach Bowden has compared us in the past, but one thing I've always kind of considered myself as a quarterback that when I do roll out of the pocket, I'm looking downfield to get those explosive plays. Because you see Patrick Mahomes do it, you see it all over football, whether it's high school, college, NFL, wherever. That ability to escape the pocket and those DBs, they don't know what to do. It puts some pressure on them. Do they want to attack a quarterback that's mobile, as I am? Or do they want to, stay in coverage? So it's, either way, hopefully I'm able to take advantage of that. And my goal is, I do enjoy running the ball, certainly, but my goal is to put in the guys who, like Tyrone Howell, just those guys who can go and make a play. And then after that, my favorite part of running is when I don't have the football, when I'm chasing after the guys, going to celebrate with them scoring.
So you mentioned Tyrone Howell, great offensive threat, but you get a little bit of reprieve of having to really be a one-dimensional team with some great running backs. Thaddeus Franklin coming in, Willard at the fullback position, probably going to be a little bit of a hybrid there. How great is that, knowing that it's not just on me, so to say, of I got to be a great passer. We can be a two-dimensional team.
Yeah, we're definitely multi-dimensional now when it comes to that. With these two new guys transferring in, just the size and the power they run with, it's exciting to watch. You see Frank Ward Jr. for Southern Miss punishing defenses, and I think we've got some guys that can do just that on our team now. And not to diminish Hunter Smith or Bennett Galloway or Charlie Norman. All guys who have been in the system for a while now, they can roll too. Some more elusive, some more powerful backs, but I think they all have a place in this offense where they can play, definitely.
What do you see as maybe one area that the Warhawks are still kind of maybe iffy going into the fall camp?
As far as offense, I would say just being precise in what Coach Kubik asks of us. If the route's 15 yards, then we need to get 15. If the quarterback needs to do a certain route, just being more precise and really making sure we get the small things right. But I think with the offense we've got going and just all the work we've done in the summer, I think we've gotten really close to getting to being able to operate the offense like our Coach Kubik wants to.
Countdown's on for the Army game. Is that the biggest game that y'all really have circled to kind of set the tone for the season?
Yeah, first game at Malone, featuring the Army for the United States. It's pretty cool to have them in our stadium in Malone, in Monroe. So, we did play them last year. They definitely got the better of us last year, but I'm excited for them to come down to Malone. Come down to the swamp, if you will, the bayou, and I'm looking forward to September 2nd.
I want to personally apologize for last year's result of the game, because when I turned it on, you guys were winning, and then I watched the rest, and you end up losing. So it's my fault.
Well, I'm not going to put anything on you this year, but maybe you just don't watch it.
I will keep the channel off. I'll turn on something else.
No NFL Network for you.
No NFL Network for me.
All right. Well, we thank you, Jair, for your time, and look forward to seeing you this upcoming season.